Good morning, everyone. We are here on day 2 this week for our first read aloud. And our read alouds this week are going to be a little bit different because we are going to start reading some nonfiction books. So nonfiction, as we've talked about in the classroom, means real. So that means that you are going to get some real information from these stories this week. Okay, now these stories are actually a special type of nonfiction called narrative nonfiction. The word narrative means story. So nonfiction means real, and the word narrative means story. So these texts this week that you're going to be listening to are stories that provide real information. Okay, so today's story is called Cactus Hotel. Okay, and I want you to be thinking about the main idea of the story as we read. Okay, and a main idea is going to tell us what the story is mostly about. What is the most important thing in this story? Now, before we start, I'm going to tell you that our author is Brenda Giberson, and our illustrator is Megan Lloyd. Okay, I want you to take a look at the cover. This right here is called a border. What do you notice about the border? Also want you to take a really good look at this cactus. This is a cactus. Why do you think there are black holes all on the cactus? And the last thing I want you to think about is the word hotel. What does the word hotel mean? What is a hotel? And how could a cactus be a hotel? So as we read, I want you to be thinking not only about how this story is nonfiction, so what about this story is real, but also how can a cactus be a hotel, and who might use the cactus as a hotel? All right, so this story today is going to give us facts about a specific type of cactus, and that cactus is called the Saguaro Cactus. Okay, the Saguaro Cactus. So we are going to learn some things about the Saguaro Cactus. On a hot, dry day in the desert, a bright red fruit falls from a tall saguaro cactus. Plop! It splits apart on the sandy floor. 2,000 black seeds glisten in the sunlight. Let's see our question. What do you think is going to happen to all the seeds? So 2,000 black seeds glisten in the sunlight. What do you think is going to happen to all of those seeds? When the air cools in the evening, an old pack rat comes out and eats the juicy fruit. Then he skitters across the sand. A seed left clinging to his whiskers falls off under a palo verde tree. It is a good place for the seed to drop. A spotted ground squirrel looking for something to eat does not see it. A house finch chirping high in the palo verde does not see it. Let's look at our question here. Why is it important that the squirrel and the finch do not see the seed? Why is it important that those two animals do not see the seed? After many dry days, a heavy rain falls on the desert. Soon, a young cactus sprouts up from the ground. Slowly, slowly, the seedling grows. The palo verde protects it from the hot summer sun and cold winter nights. After 10 years, the cactus is only 4 inches high. It is just big enough for desert ants to climb its spiny sides. So here is our cactus, and this is after 10 years. So that little seed turns into this cactus after only 10 years. Okay, so on this page, we have a tree here. Don't worry about it. All right, sorry guys, back to our story. So after a rainstorm, when the desert blooms with color, the cactus pulls in water with its long roots and looks fat. A young pack rat stops to drink the water that drips off the tree. Then she scurries off, looking for a dry place to make a nest. When there is no rain, the cactus uses up the water it has stored inside and looks thin. The palo verde loses its tiny leaves, but there is always some shade for the cactus below. After 25 years, the cactus is 2 feet tall. A jackrabbit cools off beside it and gnaws on the green pulp. But when a coyote moves in the distance, the jackrabbit disappears into a nearby hole. So here we have the jackrabbit using the cactus, but then we have this coyote. So when the coyote comes close, the jackrabbit scurries into the hole. So how does the cactus help the jackrabbit? After 50 years, the cactus stands 10 feet tall and looks straight and strong beside the old palo verde. For the very first time, brilliant white and yellow flowers appear at the top of the cactus. Every spring from now on, the flowers will open for one night only and then close in the heat of the day. They beckon like a welcoming signal across the desert. At different times of the day and night, birds, bees, and bats come for the nectar. So now we have these flowers at the top of the cactus. So we have other animals benefiting from the cactus now. The flowers dry up, and after a month, the bright red fruit filled with black seeds is ripe and ready. A Gila woodpecker comes to eat. He looks around the cactus and decides to stay. He has found the perfect place in the desert to begin a new hotel. Let's look at our question here. So a pack rat ate this fruit when it fell from the cactus. The woodpecker likes it too. What will he do to begin the hotel? Now let's think about that. He's a woodpecker. Let's think back to our cover. What do we notice about that cactus that might have come from this woodpecker to create a hotel? The woodpecker goes right to work, and the only tool he uses is his long, hard beak. Tap, tap, tap. He bores into the flesh of the cactus. Tap, tap, tap. He digs deep inside to make a space that is comfortable and roomy. The cactus is not harmed. It forms a tough scab all around the hole to protect itself from drying out. The woodpecker gets a weatherproof nest that is shady on hot days and warm and insulated on frosty nights. And the cactus gets something in return. The woodpecker likes to eat the insects that can bring disease to the cactus. So here we see the woodpecker and the cactus are working together to help each other. After 60 years, the Cactus Hotel is 18 feet tall. To add more space, it begins to grow an arm. A woodpecker has a new hole in the trunk. Farther up, a white-winged dove makes a nest on the arm. And down below, an old hole is discovered by an elf owl. The birds feel safe living high up in a prickly plant where nothing can reach them. All around the desert, there are holes of every size for ants and mice, lizards and snakes, rabbits and foxes. After 150 years, there are holes of every size in the cactus, too. The giant plant has finally stopped growing. It is 50 feet tall with 7 long branches. It weighs 8 tons, about as much as 5 automobiles. So let's look at that. As much as 5 automobiles. That means that this cactus weighs as much as 5 cars put together when it's finally done growing. Let's look at our question. How is the cactus like a hotel? The cactus is soft now. Everybody wants to live in the Cactus Hotel. Birds lay eggs and pack rats raise their young. Even insects and bats live there. When one animal moves out, another moves in. And every spring they come for a special treat of nectar and juicy fruit. Finally, after 200 years, the old cactus sways in a gust of wind and falls with a thud to the sandy floor. Its great thorny arms crumble in the crash. The creatures that lived up high must find other homes, but those that prefer to live down low move right in. A millipede, a scorpion, and many ants and termites quickly find homes in the toppled hotel. After many months, all that remains are the wooden ribs that supported the cactus while it stood so tall. A collared lizard dashes over the top, looking for insects. A ground snake huddles in the shade below. So let's think about this. How does the cactus help animals even after it has died? Because that's what happened on this page. It fell to the ground and crumbled. So now the cactus is no longer living. It's dead. But it's still helpful to animals. How? And all around there is a forest of cacti, slowly growing in the desert. Through hot and cold, wet and dry, some will survive long enough to become other cactus hotels. The end. Okay, so I want you to take a minute to think, how is a cactus like a hotel? And who is it a hotel for? I also want you to think, why did the illustrator include this border on our cover? Why do you think the illustrator included that on our cover? And why do you think the title here of our book is so important? I want you to take some think time for that. Then we are going to talk about our writing for today. So you will find in your folder a writing that says Cactus Hotel, and at the top it says Day 2. So let's read the directions together. It says, think of the animals you saw in the book. How do the different animals depend on the cactus? Choose one animal and draw a picture of that animal interacting with the cactus in some way. Now, there's a few words here that we might need to talk about. Let's talk about the word depend. If something depends on something, it needs it. So we want to know, how do the different animals depend on or need the cactus to survive? Another word I want to talk about is interacting. So it says choose one animal and draw a picture of that animal interacting with the cactus in some way. That means, how is that animal using the cactus? Okay? So on this writing, I want you to choose one animal from our story. I want you to draw a picture of that animal with the cactus, and you can color it when you're finished. How does that animal interact with the cactus? How does that animal do anything with the cactus? How does the animal use the cactus? Then I want you to write one sentence to describe your picture. Okay, so you're going to choose one animal from our story. You're going to draw a picture of how that animal interacts with the cactus. And then you are going to write one sentence in this blank space to describe your picture of how that animal depends on the cactus. All right. If you need to go back and listen to the story again to choose your animal and to remember or to remind yourself how that animal depends on the cactus, that is okay. Remember to use your very best handwriting, use your finger spaces, and capital letter at the beginning and punctuation at the end. You may draw your picture when you are finished, and I will see you guys on day 4 for our next story. Good luck, and see you later.